Hi, I'm Kara.
And I'm Danny.
And this is Art with a Lisp. I am a certified life coach and owner of Press Play Coaching.
And I have a list.
The purpose of this podcast is to celebrate artists, talk about their work, their struggles, and their taboo relationship with money. If you're a creative person who believes you can never make money off your craft, we hope it inspires you to hear the stories of the ones who are doing it.
Do it.
Danny, have you noticed anything different?
That you're ready to film?
That is different because I took a long time to get ready today.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, but we're finally here.
Nice.
Which is great.
So, guess who did my hair today?
I'm going to guess it's our guest.
Yeah, this is...
Wait, hold on. Hi, guys. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Danny, and this is Kara.
Hi, guys.
And Kara, continue.
This is our friend, Erin Anderson. She is the owner and head stylist at FRINGE Salon in Philadelphia, specializing in curly cuts, multi-level certification, upper echelon of curls. And she also is a musician, and we're going to go into her whole history of her creative, she's one of the most creative people I know, and her business is booming right now. It's doing amazing, and we're going to talk about all of that. I want you guys to meet her. I've been very excited about this interview because you are an established creative person who has gotten a handle on business and so many other aspects that are important for artists to get. So, hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi.
Love it. So I kind of want to just go right from the beginning with you. What is your creative history? What were your earliest projects and interests and creative expressions? Walk us through that.
We'll go to the start.
Yes.
A moment I do not remember, but growing up, we were next door neighbors with a professional painter.
Okay.
Alan Grow. If you look up his work, he's amazing.
How do you spell the last name?
Grow.
Okay.
What kind of paintings he did?
Fine art painting, landscape, kind of more traditional style painting.
Okay.
Really cool family. Me and my sister were a little younger than his boys. Incidentally, it was the first time I ever saw a video game, Pong, if you remember that.
Yes.
This is dating myself. But we were, the adults were upstairs. We were in the basement. I apparently drew all over their walls. They came downstairs and my mom was mortified.
With what, crayon?
Whatever, probably crayon.
Mm-hmm.
How old were you?
Wow.
I think I was 2 or 3.
Okay. At least you weren't 14.
And my mom was mortified, and then Alan looked at it and he was like, that's actually really good. He was like, he basically told my parents to support my creativity. And they were like, should we put her in, what should we do for this kid? And he was like, just give her room. Just give her room to go.
I love that.
So Saturday morning cartoons, me and my sister would wake up at the crack of dawn and, way before my parents, we just decided to take down the cereal box and, but we didn't grow up that wealthy or anything, but we had a roll of paper and crayons. And by the end of the Saturday morning cartoons, it would just be covered, the floor would be covered in drawings. So I just had a lot of room to be creative. Mm-hmm. My parents always supported that, and they just from that nucleus just let me be.
That's great.
Yep.
That's a great privilege. Mm-hmm. And then what did you get into in your teenage years and later on?
So in my garage, I set up a painting studio, and I started oil painting at 8.
How old? 8 years old. You're like, dun, dun, dun,
How did you set up?
My grandfather, who I grew up with my grandparents, and my grandpa was he was a painter. But he never really pursued it. So he had a lot of materials and he just gave them to me.
Amazing.
Did you have other is it a family thing?
No.
But
Music is a family thing. So playing piano and singing and stuff was not optional. That was what we did. And so I had 2 trajectories, kind of I had the expected one, and then I was kind of the oddball visual artist.
Interesting.
Most of your family in music then?
Everybody plays instruments, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. So what were your first 8-year-old oil paintings like?
I was 9 with this one in particular, but it was a painting of our family dog, Daphne, the black lab. And I have to say, it's, it's in my parents' study right now, and it is pretty darn good. They were kind of oh, okay. This little girl
when they
is,
realized. Amazing.
Yeah. And like my mom was like, oh, like I remember her like saying to people, this is an oil painting. But my grandpa just gave me paints. Like there was the paints that I had. I wasn't like, I'm oil painting. I didn't like, they were paints. You know, she was like, oh, this is an oil painting. And I was like, oh, it's an oil painting, you know?
Yeah, because it's a lot harder to work with.
Yeah. Say it again.
Oh, any dinosaurs?
Unfortunately, no. I wasn't a dinosaur kid. Sorry.
And then what happened as you went into your teen years? Like, what did you start dabbling with?
You know, interestingly, I was always interested in hair.
Oh, okay.
I was... So, like, you know, when your parents, like, ask you what you want to be when you grow up, like, whenever that starts, I don't know, like, you know, 9,
Depends
10, 11
parents,
or whatever, you know, it was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was, you know, I want to be a hairstylist.
Was there
Really? So you would say that?
I was always interested in hair.
Was there a defining moment that you were like, I want to do this?
Hair?
Yeah.
No, that was more associated with me being like a kid and what do you want to be when you grow up? But I was always interested in it. So I kind of like went out of that phase and I kind of like really defined myself from a young age as a visual artist. So I ended up going to art school. I have a fine arts degree from Moore College of Art and Design. And I was doing the music thing at the time. I mean, when like electronic music kind of like came on the scene, I like deep dove and, you know, found myself in the rave scene and, you know, hooked up with musicians and started DJing. And then like with my musical background, which is piano and voice, I funneled that into...
How do you go from a fine arts degree to being a DJ?
It was all happening at the same time.
Well, what were you majoring in
Fine arts.
In fine arts. Okay, to do
two-dimensional fine arts. I graduated with printmaking.
Printmaking.
And then you went to hairstyling.
Yeah, it was an interesting journey. So I graduated in 2000. I was in school for actually 5 years. I did my first year was music and liberal arts. So by the time I was a senior in art school, I could just work on my thesis, which was super, super cool.
So,
yes.
I'm sorry, if we go back a little bit, in the Quick Connect, you said that something happened with a pixie cut when you were 12?
13.
13.
Yes.
So was that a defining moment?
Tell us about that.
A totally defining moment, yes. So it was 1990. I turned 13 in 1990, and I'm obsessed with fashion, clearly. Obsessed with fashion.
Me too.
So, are you?
Yeah.
Unclearly.
Really?
Yeah. No. I'm a man. I just dress.
So at the time, you know, the supermodels were like when, you know, models were models and not influencers and whatever is going on now. But, you know, designers were household names like Alexander McQueen and, you know, Nautica and, you know, all these... my brain is not working right now, but you know what I'm talking about.
Walmart.
Calvin Klein,
and you know this whole
Tommy
scene.
Hilfiger.
Yeah. The George Michael video, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. All the supermodels.
Yes, all the supermodels. That whole
Off-brand
scene.
Kmart.
So, say it again.
Off-brand Kmart.
Off-brand Kmart. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Good. See, you know.
I'm into fashion.
So the supermodels all got pixie cuts, which was kind of odd for these like glamazons to get like, you know, Linda Evangelista and Christy Turlington. And they were all getting these like short haircuts. And this girl at my church, she had this amazing pixie cut. I'm 13. I'm like looking at it and I'm like, I want that.
How old was she?
I don't know. She was probably like 15 or 16, you know.
Did you look up to her because she was like an older teenager?
All I remember was her haircut.
Okay.
Yeah.
She looked up to her hair.
Yes. It was like the perfect, it was like the pixie cuts in the magazines.
Okay.
And I'm like, I want that.
And was that what made you want, like, seriously to pursue hair?
That experience of getting that perfect haircut was absolutely a defining moment
How did
for
you
me.
feel when you got that pixie cut?
Like amazing. Like I stepped out. It's like there's this movie Sabrina with Audrey Hepburn, and actually she went to France and like redefined herself, and she got a pixie cut, and she came back to the United States. Like no one paid attention to her, and then everyone was like, you know, I felt that way.
So it wasn't like a
with
Billie
this.
Jean type of thing. Remember that movie Billie Jean, and she's like, "Fair's fair," and she was wearing like a cut off denim vest, and she cuts her hair, and her hair's like blonde, and she gets a pixie cut. And
Didn't see that
that's
one.
That's a whole.
We're gonna put
movie.
a picture
We're
of a
definitely
pixie
gonna.
cut right here.
We're
Yes.
gonna put a picture of Billie Jean.
I don't know what a
Definitely.
pixie cut is.
Do Sabrina Audrey Hepburn for sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that was like a moment for me, and I experienced a really good haircut. You know,
power
and
of
it
good hair.
really, and just like the compliments I got and the confidence that I had, and it was like a short haircut, and it was like on trend, and it was You know, so at a very young age, like I experienced that.
It's a lot of power for a 13-year-old.
From that point forward, I mean, I rocked a pixie cut in many iterations, many colors, like for all my high school, most of my college. A lot of it I cut myself. One time I completely botched it and shaved I had to shave my head.
Isn't that healthy though? When you like shave your head off?
I don't know. You tell me.
It is, yeah.
You feel healthy?
For the hair, no, but they say like for the ends.
Tell us more about your day.
Yeah, I'm going to mansplain your field.
Please, I would love
I didn't even notice I was doing it.
Mansplain. We're going to get a graphic on that for sure.
But, you know, I experienced the whole gamut of getting good haircuts, bad haircuts, messing it up, like, and kind of like how to fix it, what to do, like what bleach does. Oh my gosh.
Makes it blonde.
In 9th grade, I was 14. So this is a year into me with my pixie cut.
Yeah.
I went to a sleepover party at Manny and Niken's house, who was like the coolest girl ever, you know. And I was like, I want a platinum pixie. And she's like, oh, I know how to do that. She's like, oh yeah, we can do that tonight. I was like, oh, really cool. She's like, okay. She's like, yeah, I have the bleach. I have the developer. She's like, let's mix it up, put it on your head. She said, put plastic on your head. When you wake up.
Overnight?
Overnight. I woke up, my hair was clear.
That's cool though.
I had if my hair was long, it would have fallen off. Because my hair was short, it did not. But my hair felt like Barbie hair. And now I know exactly what, like, it was like empty straws because all the color in the cortex was completely taken out. And thankfully it kind of dried so it stopped processing, but like I had clear hair. I stood in like her little like vanity in her like little like basement bathroom, like with my mouth open for an hour. I was like,
And what did she say?
I mean, you know, she like knew what was up. It was like platinum.
She's like, this is what you wanted, right? I mean, nailed it. Like, that is terrifying.
It was very...
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay, so the power of hair and the tragedy of hair was established at a young age.
Yes.
And then you went to art college. You got your degree in fine arts and with printmaking. And then you were already exploring the music. And then what happened after? What was your expectation when you were in art school? Because this is something that's kind of coming up with the conversations we're having.
Yeah.
What was the expectation in art school of what would happen when you were done with it? Like in terms of your
to give you context... when I went into college, people were just starting to use email. When I graduated college, people were like, you need a website.
Okay.
So with absolutely no explanation behind it.
Okay.
So for my senior seminar, fall semester, for instance, to illustrate where I was with technology, the fall semester senior seminar, we took pictures of our work with slides, with film.
Yeah.
And then they told us that we had to retake the pictures of our work spring semester with digital cameras.
Okay. Wow. It's a very transitional moment.
So we were like, okay. They're like, yeah, and you need a website. And mind you, we're not graphic designers. And we're like, okay. And they're like, okay, bye. You graduated. See ya.
Wow.
I watched film. I watched the photography department completely be dissolved before my eyes. So I started to get major, like, technophobe anxiety, like, hugely.
That makes sense.
Right?
That makes
So
sense.
I saw a ship coming on the horizon that was going to kill hands-on things.
I never knew that's where it started. That's very interesting.
Yep. And the adults had no explanation for it, and I was like, oh no.
They were probably even less prepared.
Completely less prepared. All they knew that this is what you need to do.
They've been doing what they've been doing even longer than you had.
Correct.
Wow. What was your question, Dave?
I don't know. It doesn't apply.
Okay.
I'm glad I listened to it.
Cool. Nice editing.
Yeah.
So then what happened with music? So they did not prepare you at all for how to build a business or how to make money on your craft after college?
No.
Okay. This seems to be a trend.
Yeah, I don't like school for that reason.
So what is the benefit that you got from art school?
The benefit I got from art school is working deadlines, which really annoyed me. at first, if I didn't have a deadline, then I could just like work, then I could really explore the thing. No, you need deadlines. You will never finish what you're doing. You have to make decisions at some point. So that was extremely valuable. Critiques, extremely valuable. So, people say, oh, art school's not, what are you doing? You're just like, whatever, flouncing around. If you can create, I call it pulling rabbits out of hats. There is nothing there. You come up with an idea. You have a deadline. You have to create it. You have to hang it. You have to defend it.
Talking about critiques.
That's a powerful lesson.
It's a very
to
powerful
go through
lesson.
the rest of your life with your craft too, that you're going to still be doing those things.
Correct.
I don't think people these days know how to face critiques. They just crumble, which is a shame.
That is something that is diminishing.
It's a lost art. But talking about critiques, have you ever encountered someone that was like, why are you going to art school? Or why are you a hairstylist? And
No.
it's like, no.
I don't surround myself with people like
You
that.
don't? Oh, okay.
Amen.
Has anybody around your circle ever dealt with that? Where maybe a parent, a well-meaning parent was like...
Yes. My one of my lovely stylists, she's been with me for a while. Her mom is now deceased. Unfortunately, she did die early, but she did not want her daughter to pursue this career, but she ended up pursuing it. And now that she's doing very well, she's saying, my mom really would be proud of me. So she wanted her daughter to pursue
How did she
more of an
handle it?
academic. She knows this is what she wants to do.
And
She
she just
actually
stuck
said
to
the
it.
other day, she was kind of laughing. She was like, mom would be so proud of me. And she knew I was going to do this anyway. And she loved fashion. She put highlights in my hair when she was like 12 years old. So she's like, I don't know why my mom wouldn't be surprised that I actually got into this field. But yeah, that's honestly the only person on my team that I've heard that from that hasn't been supported. Yeah.
Okay, so talk about what you did after art school with your music, because that was a very interesting journey.
Yeah, so it was the 90s, the rave thing was still quite big, and, I was younger, so I didn't really need sleep. So I was, in art school, very active in that scene, playing music. In the summer of 2001, toured Europe, North America. Ended up, the last show was Burning Man that we played.
You went to Burning Man?
Yeah, we played
How's
at
that
Burning
like?
Man.
Because that was like before it was cool to go to Burning Man and have a wedding
In
at Burning Man.
2001, from what I had heard before, it was already done. I was like, oh, this is done. I was like, oh, this is over. Yeah, this is like...
But they still do it, right?
No, they still do it. It's like a big event. You pay a lot of money to go there.
It's way crazier. The federal police have to be there now because it's so many people, which is, kind of a buzzkill. But anyway, we got back. A week later, 9/11 happened.
Wait.
Yeah.
Why did they start Burning Man? Why did they start Burning Man?
Well, that's a whole other podcast.
Okay.
Focus steady.
All right, 9/11.
So anyway,
Good question,
we came back, 9/11 happened. 9/11 changed everything, obviously.
Yeah.
It changed the way you travel. It changed, technology was also vastly changing at that time. In fact, that summer when we were in London, we actually scoped out this DJ Richie Houghton. He was playing. We were not playing that night. We went to go see him. He was playing on the first. It was called Final Scratch, which is now Serato, which is the going from vinyl records to digital. He was demoing it. Literally, everybody was like, "What is that?" Like, that was the first time we ever heard of this. Mind you, when we toured, it was all hardware.
And you were doing techno music,
our vintage synths, our records.
That was a lot of. It
was very heavy. It was a very.
Is it F
very,
Company? There's like a really good vinyl record, not vinyl. Whatever music you were doing in Europe, there's a really good company, and I forget the name.
I can't help you
brain
with your
fart.
question.
It was more of a
Danny's
statement.
like, I have some scraps. Can you form a sentence? Thanks.
Here's words. Put them together. What do you come up with?
Anyway, the whole thing was, it was really hard. It was really, really hard. My music partner at the time, he never stopped touring from that time. That was like when we got back, 9/11 happened. I had a very, very creative arts related job.
What was it?
I was working for an independently wealthy guy who had a print collection. So I was like basically making a database for all of his prints.
How's that a creative job?
Well, I was also a part of an art collective at the time as well, and I was working at a studio. And he had a pet project called Philadelphia Printmaking Collaborative. And so I was a part of that. I was printing for that. I was a printer for that as well.
Okay.
So I had a corporate paid job.
So you a job that pays the bills and gave you time to do what you wanted to do.
Right out of college, it was a beautiful thing. And then 9/11 happened, and then that job got cut.
Why?
A lot of arts jobs got cut at 9/11. So I had a whole year of unemployment, collected unemployment. I befriended Ruth, who I ended up buying the salon from. She encouraged me. She said, you know what? Go to beauty school. Come work for me. I was like, oh.
Wow.
Because, again, I could see.
How old were you at this point?
I was, oh my gosh, how old was I? 21?
21?
Yeah.
It takes 3 years?
22, maybe?
How long does
Yeah, something
beauty school takes?
It's 10 months in PA, in Pennsylvania.
That's it? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I was like 22, 23, I guess, at the time.
And what do they cover? Because who I was talking to? I was talking to one of the girls, and they said that it's like you're a chemist.
Yeah.
Because you mix.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's...
Oh, Danny, you know something. It was a far cry from your original conversation with Erin.
Yes, which was... But it was... I was being honest. I'm like, you're a hairstylist. That's not an art.
Well, it takes what I learned in art school. It takes, like, shapes. It takes, especially if you're working sculpturally, which actually was a little bit of a shock for me because I, was taking my 2-dimensional space and turning it to 3-dimensional. So that was a little like, oh, I'm very right hand dominated. Now I have to balance my left hand. So there's a lot of body stuff. There's a lot of angles, there's corners, there's rounding corners, there's all that. But like, I already had that skill set. Color theory, the color wheel does not change. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Color wheel doesn't change. That's science. So we're working the color wheel on people's heads along with chemistry.
It's going to be a fun
where you
visual.
could like seriously mess up somebody's hair. And you can actually really hurt them too if you don't know what you're doing.
And they could wake up and have like a see-through hair.
Yes. Mandy and I can. Sorry, you did not know what you were talking about at all. You're the coolest girl in school.
So you were not planning, you were kind of like aimless after 9/11. You had to figure out what you were going to do, and then you come across this opportunity. Somebody says, come, like, go to beauty school, work for me.
Yes.
And then what happened?
I did that. I started working for Ruth. Actually, when I met Ruth, I did have a little bit of graphic design skill there. I did have electives when I was in art school. I was so afraid of computers. Like, I was like I'm still anti-computer, but I was like really afraid. And I said to myself, I'm like, I should take an elective just to like get over this.
I see her in Office Space, just like beating the computer with a baseball bat.
Oh, I relate to that scene.
Yeah.
Very much so. Yes. Yes.
You should have seen her when we tried to connect to the Wi-Fi before and it didn't work. Like,
Yeah, I was like, I'm done. I can't do this. The bar is going. I'm like, I'm done.
but it's interesting. You were technophobe because what happened in art school, but then like you were doing techno music, but you were doing it in an analog way.
Nice. Yeah.
Analog. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting.
Hands on. Yeah.
Did you ever think about what your music would be if you embraced technology? Like what that could do for your music?
Quite frankly, as by the end of us making music as flowchart, it started to actually be, we were recording on DAT to tape, we were mastering, and then it went digital. I never liked the mastering on the digital. It's too sharp. It's not warm. It always bothered me. I'm like, how do we warm it up? How do we make it? So when I started, I did have a solo music career too, and I just recorded found sound. I was totally
What's
into
found sound?
I went out and recorded stuff in the kitchen and recorded, like I went to like KB Toy Store and like went and like recorded all the toys and stuff.
And that was your music?
Yeah, and I made that was the source material.
That's actually a big thing now. Like Billie Eilish, like her brother Phineas. That's part of what has been like. He'll take a sound like the scratching of a match, and then he'll like digitize it, and then like turn it into a bass or something like that. And like the found sounds is like it's part of his genius of what made him like a Grammy-winning artist. Is that he used those elements in his production. Yeah,
Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish's brother.
Oh.
Who's her producer,
producer,
and like music songwriting partner.
All right.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
But she was doing it a long time ago, and that was like your way of like creating music.
That was
without
my way
being
of
digital.
like trying to bring it back, you know. But you know
I
that
just,
that
like-
pursuit is never. So as far as like a career with music, like I wasn't down with like my music partner who went on to have a career. He got extremely bored with it because to have a career in techno, you have to play the big clubs, you have to play at a certain BPM, you have to play certain music so people will dance all night.
Where's
I
he
was
now?
not interested in that at all. I was like, nope. I don't want to make music like that.
How would you describe the
where is
music
he
that you were
now?
making?
Experimental. It was at the time it was like umbrella under minimal techno, which I don't think they call that anymore. I don't know what they call it now. I
Yeah.
think they call it EDM. I don't know what they call it anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Danny really wants to know what happened to your music
Yeah,
partner.
I did.
What happened to my what?
What? What happened to your friend, your music partner?
Oh, he is deceased.
Oh, drugs?
Alcohol and drugs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
figures.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow, Danny, way to respect the dead.
Wow. Yeah. He OD'd. Yeah. He died. Don't do drugs, kids.
In this week's episode of Hole in the Wall, we head over to 159 New York Avenue to the Franklin. This is a family-owned and operated restaurant, which gives a very intimate setting. The owners are willing to speak with you for a little bit, and they're very, very passionate about the food they're serving. This is the wife. She is the owner, and she's giving us the freshest burger I've had. Very, very juicy. I love their French fries. I would also highly recommend the steak and eggs and their egg benedicts. They're an amazing place to have brunch. These are their desserts, which are amazing, and I believe that the tiramisu is homemade. They also have a second location that in Secaucus, which serves alcohol, a great place for dinner. On that note, when you walked into the salon for the first time, how'd you feel?
Which salon?
The salon that you worked at with Ruth.
Oh.
Like the chairs in front of you, like, I'm finally going to do this as a career. Like, how did you feel?
So she encouraged me to make the career switch. I did. I was working for her.
And you're
Then
alive.
She announced, I am moving out of the country.
Ooh.
To myself and the stylist at the time who was assisting under her, who had just became a stylist. I just came on as I was on as an assistant going to be a stylist. She was like, I'm moving out of the country. And we were like, okay. And she's like, I got to sell the business. Do you guys want it? And Tammy didn't want it. And then I was at this moment, I was 26 at the 25, 20, I think I was 25, 26,
24.
24, maybe. It's like something around there.
So it was like
25.
2003 or something?
Yeah, like around
That's
there.
too quick math.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had the support from my parents. I've always had support from my parents. Thank you, parents. You know, I would
That's
say like
big.
I would say to the audience listening, like in any creative endeavor, if you do have support around you, because yeah, it is a bit of a trust fall, right? To go out and be like, okay, I'm going to pull a rabbit out of a hat right now. It doesn't exist. I'm going to do this thing. It's a trust fall. So if you do know that you have support, that does help for sure. You know, that I don't necessarily always mean financial support too. Because you could have all the financial support in the world. And like I could have very rich parents that would make me be a doctor. I know,
Right.
you know, I knew girls, I went to a women's arts college, so I'm going to say girls. I knew girls that wanted to do fine arts. Their parents made them do graphic design because then they could get a real job.
Right.
know
Yeah.
what I'm
Graphic
saying?
design was like the gateway drug to like a corporate job. Like that was
Right.
people like, okay, if you're going to do art, let it
Yeah.
be graphic design because that'll give you the most chances. So many artists are like pushed into that world.
Yeah, but they were like pining away. I really wanted to do fine arts.
But they didn't.
But my parents wouldn't let me.
Yeah. And a lot of artists are like, I really want to do any art. But I ended up, you know, going into finance or whatever was a real job. So tell me about this. So that's you kind of decided to purchase this hair salon, even though you're an assistant
Oh my gosh.
to the stylist.
Honestly, youth is an amazing thing. It truly is. Being young and ignorant and just fearless is so beautiful. And young people that are like, I want to travel. I'm like, go travel, do it. Like, just be that fearless self. Because if it was me 2 years later, I would have absolutely said no.
Right. You need a measure of bravado and almost like ignorance too.
Completely.
To just be like,
sure, this sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
Was Tammy older than you?
No, she was younger than me.
Okay.
She was great. I operated under my owner's name she basically gave me a business starter kit. So she had, at the time, no website because you didn't need it. She had a Yellow Pages ad and a business card. And she was open 3 days a week, and she was totally fine. Paid rent, was fine.
Some
You
people
were
are
like,
not going to
analog,
know
I like it.
what the Yellow Pages are.
Yeah.
So then what happened? So that's a huge undertaking to kind of like inherit or purchase a business at that age. So what were some of the struggles that you faced?
Wait, I'm just curious. Where did Ruth go?
She's English. Her mom passed away and left her property in Wales. So she went back. Yeah.
Go Wrexham.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to know.
Cool. What were the challenges that you faced as soon as you purchased this business?
Oh, guess what happened right after I purchased the business in June? In September, I was in a cast for a month
Ooh, what
with
happened?
my right arm.
Ooh.
I got hit.
Forgot
hit on my
about
bike.
that.
Yeah, remember that?
Wow, that's a long time ago. Oh my goodness, I
So that was
forgot about
fun.
that.
It was super fun.
Just a stack, right? It comes in stacks. So what was the biggest challenge besides like being in a cast? Like what was the biggest challenge you had going into that?
I mean, honestly, I think I was still so young that I was still like very wide-eyed and just like very like, oh yeah, this is great, this is great, this is great. I mean, when I started to take on more, so Tammy left at the time, and she moved on. I mean, people move on. I was changing it to Fringe Salon at the time. This was 2008.
What was the name before?
Ruth Danneman Salon. That was
okay.
Yeah,
Her name, yeah.
So I changed it to I was starting to
Come off your
have
own.
vision and really be like, okay, like this is this path. This is, and it starts little, I don't, if I can recommend anything in a business is to, especially in a when you're working with clients, you do want to make enough room in your vision that the clients are going to tell you the next steps as well. I mean, if I can really recommend anything to people, because then you can actually build something that you can sell.
Yeah.
Is this around the time that you got into curls?
No.
Oh, this is before curls.
Yes.
So what's fringes?
Fringe Salon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fringe is another name for bangs.
Yeah.
Fringe is, so it was a little homage to the English, a little homage to Ruth. She was English. So in England, they call it fringe.
Bangs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So we're kind of like, we're like artsy. In 2006, I looked up at my walls at, Ruth Danneman Salon at the time. And I was like, probably should hang some artwork. Like went into my flip phone. Boop, 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 boop. Hey friend, you want to show your photography? So we started to use the salon as an art gallery.
Oh, nice.
I have music equipment. I have a whole PA. And I was like, cool, like let's set up our turntables. Let's have a opening party, because that's what I know how to do. So at the time where the salon was, it was not gentrified yet. I was like the loner. I was like, if you saw like a hipster in that neck of the woods, it was like amazing. Like you're like, oh my gosh, look, there's a hipster.
It's like a Yeti.
Yeah. So it actually brought people down to that section of the city that people weren't really going to. So it was another kind of play on fringe too. We're like kind of on the fringe of like Center
Love
City.
that.
Yeah. So it was a way to get people in. I mean, if you provide music and booze and snacks, people will come.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we started in 2006 doing every 2 months doing art openings, which we've continued to this day.
Wow. After
Next
how
one's
many
on
years?
March 18th. 18 years.
So you feature different artists every month, right?
Every 2 months.
Every 2 months.
Put like the address right here of Fringe.
Yes.
It's still called Fringe, right?
Yeah.
Fringe
Yeah.
Salon.
So
South Philly.
And for our audio listeners, so where is your salon now?
The salon is now in the Bach building, BOK, in South Philly, 1901 South 9th Street, Philadelphia, PA 19148.
Lovely. We'll also put it in the show notes. So yeah, that's amazing that you had that idea, and now you started generating this buzz every 2 months, having these artists come. And I've been to some of those parties; those were really fun, and kind of a way to meet people in the community, and also a way for them to subtly think like, hey, maybe I'll get a haircut here too.
Completely.
It's good promo.
Yes.
In a very like organic way.
Very good promo. Yeah.
In your next one in March, you might want to tell them about a podcast if you've ever been in a podcast. Just saying.
I have been telling friends and family about this podcast. Yes.
Thank you.
You guys are doing an amazing job. By the way, yes.
What were you gonna say?
Yeah. So what were talk about some of the challenges that you had? Because I remember from knowing you back then that we would have a lot of conversations about like money and finance and like, okay, now I own a business. I'm a creative person. I wanted to do printmaking. I did music, and now I'm here and I own this hair salon and I'm still in beauty school.
Wait, you're still in beauty school when you bought it?
Weren't there things like you couldn't do in your own salon because you were still in school? Or am I messing up the timing? I feel like there were things you were like, I'm still in school. I can't necessarily do this yet, but you were like so close to owning it, or...
It was very soon after.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It was very, very soon.
Yeah.
Like super soon after.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. It was ridiculous. It was like, but again, youth will get you places. Like, ignorance will get you places, and I don't like look down on that at all.
Yeah.
So how'd you work your way around it?
I just did it. I didn't really think about it. I just I am an extremely big picture person. I really, and like we were talking earlier about vision. I just have vision. I don't know. I just do.
That's
like,
really
why
brave.
didn't you give up? Because there's something you did that was very hard.
So when you're in the art field, so especially the tour that we did in 2001, you're an artist, musician. We made the music too. So it's like we created that. We spent so much time before to play the show. After the show was done, you almost get addicted to it. You're like, okay, now the next one and the next one. And it doesn't give anything really back to you. You have to work really, really hard to do the thing to present, right? The first time somebody came back to me unsolicited after I cut their hair, like I cut their hair. It's like, okay, here's the transaction. Bye. Like I didn't even know as much to like rebook them. They like called back to get another haircut. I was like, wait a second.
I love it.
I literally was like,
so real.
Wait a second. This is an amazing business plan. Like, hair grows, they come back to get it cut. I was like, oh my gosh. Really, I am so serious. Like
the concept of a repeat customer.
The concept of a repeat customer was literally unbelievable to me.
How often do women have to get their haircuts?
So hair grows half an inch a month. We're human beings, so hair grows half an inch a month.
As you get older, doesn't that slow down? Okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
this is the general template for human beings.
It's
half an inch a month,
okay.
Which means 6 inches a year. So it depends on the person, depends on how short they keep it. How often do you shave your head, Danny?
Once a week.
Okay.
If I can.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish it could be like permanent.
How long would your hair be in a year?
I don't know. It'll be this long.
Half an inch a month.
Why don't you just wear a fresh colored skull cap?
I'm not Alan.
Wait a minute.
So you say once a week?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot of hair cutting.
Well, yeah.
You're basically a barber.
Yeah. Well, for myself, it's cheap.
Right.
Yeah, it's like $35 or
phenomenal haircut.
$65 for the thing, and
there you go.
Every week.
Right. So why didn't you give up? Even though what you were doing is really hard, you found that you could have a repeat customer, and what did that do?
I was impressed and like elated that this was a sustainable way to make money. And also that I was providing a service. Mm-hmm. I am an extroverted person. I was always interested in hair. I cut my own hair for years. When I was in art school, I was cutting I was just cutting hair. I cut, boyfriend's hair, and, I cut my grandpa's hair. And I was not held back from anything I wanted to do when I was younger. So hair cutting was one of the things. So I always liked it, but literally, it literally started when the person came back unsolicited. I was like, oh, okay, this is is like a sustainable business plan.
That's awesome.
So I'm like I'm totally behind it. But along the way, I have to say, building a staff, and I don't care what business you're in, doesn't matter. I've talked to many business owners in my life, and building a staff and managing people is very challenging.
But
yeah, I know
before
you
we go
struggle with
into
that,
that,
too.
I was going to say, I found it interesting that she said it's like a $2 billion industry and you never think about it. So you didn't even think about it until you had a reoccurring customer.
Yeah.
That it's a big business.
I didn't think that it was a big business. It was a sustainable business versus the pursuits that I had in art before.
Okay.
And where's your business now? What's the status of it? Like, how much staff do you have? How is it going?
Yeah, so we're growing, which is so amazing. I have an amazing staff. I love everybody gets along, and we have a good time. We really seriously have a good time. So
how many employees do you have?
so we have 2 assistants. One is building her book. Also, she's like a hybrid stylist assistant right now. I have a receptionist. There are
What's the difference between a
5 full-time stylists. So and we're building to be 6. By the end of the year, I want to hire another assistant. So
what's the difference between a receptionist and an assistant?
what do you think it is, Danny?
Nothing. I mean,
Have you ever been in a place that had like somebody sitting at the desk taking calls?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wouldn't the assistant do that?
So an assistant in the salon is assisting the stylists. So they're shampooing,
Okay,
they're more
so-
hands-on. Yeah.
So there's
We're
more
out
to
of his
do.
depth at
So
this
like,
point,
Yeah.
so,
so
it's
an
okay.
assistant at a
yeah.
salon, if the phone rings and they're shampooing, they can't get the phone.
Yeah.
So you have just one person.
Assistant is hands-on stuff. The
Yeah, yeah,
receptionist
yeah.
like computer and phone stuff.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Would
so
it be cheaper to have like them do the same thing?
It would not work.
It would not work. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I don't run a salon.
so let's listen to the person who does.
Yeah.
So what else is going on with the business? Like, how are you making profit? Like, are you
Yes.
scaling? Like,
Yes.
it sounds like you're gonna grow the
Yes.
employees, but
yeah, in the past few years, and I have to say, I am not the only salon owner and stylist too. I am a stylist as well. That has seen that the COVID shutdown has actually done a lot for our industry. If you recall, people were 1,000% upset that they could not get their hair cut
yeah.
during
Danny
the
does not
shutdown.
relate.
Yeah, you don't relate, not except for you, and for,
Yeah.
you know. But people were livid about it.
I represent all men.
People with hairstyles were upset.
Yes. People were very upset. So I feel like it really gave the importance of a hairstylist. It gave us more focus.
Interesting.
Yeah, we were closed for
Were
4
you
months.
afraid people were just gonna start doing their own haircuts and like not need you anymore?
So interestingly, like I personally was never on social media before the shutdown. I'll use something if it's a tool. Because we were shut down, I did communicate. I did like learn Instagram and actually like communicate with the clients that way, because that was important to do. I couldn't, I wasn't going to call on the phone every single client, but we did, start a communication line with the clients that way. So
How did you support yourself during shutdown?
I run my business above board. So my whole staff got unemployment right away.
Okay.
Yeah. So I am self-employed, so they had to create that for me. I didn't get unemployment until June. I think we were shut down in March. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but my team was fine. We did get governmental support, so we did get the PPP, which is really important. And I have to say, I just feel like in a more bold and confident way, when we came back from the shutdown, we really instituted very strong like cancellation policy and non-negotiables. Like if you're not no call, no show, you're charged 100%. Like we just put the gauntlet down.
Strong boundaries. Yeah.
Which really like improved our business and our bottom line. Yeah.
What does it feel like to do something creative every day?
Awesome.
How is that improving other parts of your life?
Other parts of my life.
The fact that you have some kind of a creative outlet that you get to exercise on a regular basis, like what benefit is that serving to the other parts of your life?
I don't think I could not do that in my life. Yeah. But interestingly, during the shutdown, I really got into cooking. I'm a foodie, total foodie. I live in a city that has amazing food scene. So I know good food, but now I'm in a position where I'm not going out. you know? And so I really, really connected with like food. So I will be on my feet literally the entire day, nonstop. Sometimes can't even go to the bathroom. I come home, I am on my feet creating a meal. And it just like, it is so relaxing to me, but it's process. It's like, for me, process is like really, really important. Another reason why I don't like, or well, I really like to do hair is because I have always been the type of person, even with like my art and my music, when I'm done the thing, I don't care about it anymore. I'm just like, bye. Like, I don't even, I'm just like on to the next thing because I want to start the process over again.
Interesting. And that's probably part of the sustainability, that you don't get sentimental about something.
I
or
really
feel precious about it. So you
don't.
can keep creating and keep making money.
Was it COVID that got you into curly hair?
No.
Yeah, so you specialize in curly hair. Tell us a little bit about that.
Because you don't have curly hair.
I do not. And I'm often asked by my clients.
And you did Kara's curly hair.
Yes.
Yeah,
So curly girls are very sensitive and vulnerable. Totally understand, because our industry has done a huge disservice to people that want to wear their natural texture.
I'm sorry, but I also found it interesting that you said, I believe it was you, that the boomers were the one that made that standard that you have to have straight hair when you go into the office.
Corporate handbooks require like a polished look. In all fairness, the thing that has created this whole movement in wearing natural texture actually is products that allow water to get into the hair. In all fairness to the corporate handbook, because people say, oh, well, you know, I gotta be professional. We didn't have products back then that reduced frizz in the hair. So yeah, if you were curly and you were like, I want to go in the workplace and wear my natural texture, you're going to have frizzy hair and it was going to look horrible. No one likes frizzy hair. It just doesn't look good.
Yeah.
So in all fairness to that, it really did start with products. In 2013, we brought on a product line, Diva Curl, that all I knew from upon one of the stylist recommendations, all she said is, this works. And we're like, oh, let's try it. We're like in this mode of trying different product lines, and we did, and it worked. I was incredibly impressed with the performance of it. I realized that it made me as a stylist more legitimize my business more, because I'm like, okay, if we use this shampoo, this is going to be the result. Shampoo, conditioner, product, this will be the result. I could deliver on that, and people were like, okay, I trust you.
It's good that you listen to, because I don't think most bosses would do that. Listen to their employees.
Yeah.
And you did.
Yeah.
And then you take, Kara was telling me you're like certified in.
Yes.
Yeah. How did the curly journey go?
So we hopped on with this, with Diva Curl as they were expanding as a business as well. So they expanded their line in 2015. Then that's when I really, really dug in with it. And all the while from 2013 to 2015, curly clients were coming to us. So I looked around and I was like, oh, wow, like this is our clientele. We moved locations. We moved into a location that was 3 times the size of what we were at. And in that move, I decided to really brand the salon as curly. So,
and you've been sticking to it.
And so all of us are certified.
Yeah.
And now at this stage of the game, there's more curly professional companies out there. So I'm Forever Curl certified. Lisa Carrillo, little shout out. Forever Curls Academy, amazing. First graduating class 2022. It's a thing.
Congratulations.
It's a thing, yeah.
When I looked at it, because I couldn't understand. I'm like, what? All right, you have curly hair. You cut it and that's it. But I saw your Instagram and all the women look so happy. And they look so beautiful because they were happy and like very confident. And then I got it. I'm like, oh, they're just wearing their natural hair, but it looks nicer than like they just got out of the shower and dried it. And it's
voila.
Yeah.
What are the psychological implications of a woman wearing her hair natural from what you've seen among your clients?
Oh my goodness. Self-acceptance, understanding. I always say, like, you know, now when you're with your friend who has flat ironed their hair and you're like somewhere and it rains, like you're not going to be, you know, hiding under something. Or if you like want to jump in a lake, go jump in the lake, you know, like in other words, if you're curly and you flat iron your hair, you want that to last as long as possible. You're not going to want to sweat. You're not going to want to swim. You're not want to get it wet. So that inhibits your lifestyle so much that inhibits you from living.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes when I straighten my hair, I'm like, I guess I'm not working out for a few days. Like, because I just don't want to bother with, like, that's a whole other thing. And then washing it again, it's,
I don't know. It's mind-boggling. But
I know. It's
I respect it's a whole process. I mean, you did her hair this morning. And it looks great.
I had I washed my hair yesterday, and then I didn't have time to style it. So it was a hot mess. I slept on it. Didn't even, like, do anything. I'm like, there's no product in this. And then you somehow worked this magic. You took me from a Fraggle to what you see now. But okay, Erin, so I think part of what
one question on hair. I'm sorry, Kara.
It's okay. It's okay. I've done it to you.
Is that gonna last long?
That's such Danny.
It's a good question.
You asked the best questions. I love this.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so
I'm glad I cut off Kara.
What?
You've just encouraged him for years to come, Erin. We've given this man too much power. No, go ahead. That was a good question.
So what do you think will happen when she goes to bed and sleeps?
She'll get helmet hair.
Or like, bedhead, right?
Yeah, bedhead.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I wear helmets. So.
You wear helmets to sleep? So you don't hurt yourself?
No.
Just like sitting like Magneto in bed.
I wear my yellow helmet to bed. No,
Nice.
like I only know about helmet hair because
You wear mittens?
I wear a helmet all day. So you get bed hair.
Do a mitten shop for next
bedhead,
time.
right? Elbow pads, knee pads, the
Yes.
whole nine, right?
Yeah. I scratch myself like a little bit, All right, so you get bed hair.
Yeah.
So it goes away.
What do you mean?
The hair, like I'll lose the style. That's what he's
so
asking.
the style goes away. That's what you're saying?
Wait, so, okay. So somebody goes into your salon.
Yeah.
They do their hair for a day?
So one of the conversations that we have about what you had
that's
just
right.
asked
Yes,
is
yes.
there's a whole method to sleeping.
Oh, no. I am glad I'm a man.
It is. So this involves special pillowcases. This involves special scrunchies. This involves bonnets.
Is that why there's like 8 pillows in a bed? Julia made me get more pillows because I had one pillow and she was like, "This is sad."
That's decorative. That's unrelated.
All right, so there's a whole process to taking care of your hair.
Yeah.
Overnight.
Yes.
And how are you supposed to sleep?
There's a whole language surrounding this. So there's something called pineappling.
Do-rags?
Do-rags, a silk do-rag, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right, so what's...
So interestingly, like you have do-rag, black community. The black community has a very highly textured hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the more textured the hair or the more coily the hair, actually the more fragile it is. So I always illustrate it this way. If you had 2 straws and so the one straw represented straight hair texture, and then you accordioned, you sit there and you kind of fidget. You take a straw and you start to bend it.
Oh.
So every bend point is weak. Mm-hmm. So the curlier the hair, the weaker the hair. Mm-hmm. So if you took, cotton or so if you took linen and went up to super coily hair and went like this and rubbed it, it would break the hair.
So
right?
what's pineappling?
So like a do-rag being silk protects the hair from sleeping. Because when you sleep, you're flailing around or whatever. Friction. Yeah. So pineappling is something where you take a silk scrunchie and you pile your hair on top of your head so that the ends are sticking out from the top and it looks like a pineapple.
Like a super high ponytail, kind of.
Super high ponytail.
But not tight. Just kind of.
So the idea is that you can't sleep on the top of your head.
I don't want to roll around like this.
Yeah.
But if it's here, then it's fine.
Yep. And so you're taking all of this texture. So all this beautiful texture here. You're protecting it with her hair. And the ends are sticking up. So that when you take it out in the morning, you just kind of let it
So I'm laying on this part.
Mm-hmm.
So, because we were talking yesterday, and you said that women have to do this whole process to go to work and whatever with their hair. Does she still have to do that?
Well, if she sleeps correctly, for it will last.
Yeah, I've done that. I sleep with a little silk scrunchie and a bonnet, and then when I wake up, I literally just take it off and I'm good to go.
Yep.
Okay.
I might turn my hair upside down and just kind of
Fluff it a little bit.
But that's pretty much it. It's actually very easy on day 2 and 3, and if I do that routine.
So when you wet it, does it change the structure?
It'll just get better, actually.
When you
if
wet
I go
it?
outside, it's a little misty, my hair will look even better. Because it's hydrating it.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. A little spray with the highlight and then a little...
Can we talk about money now?
Okay.
Okay, cool. So I'm glad you're getting your questions answered, Danny.
We're talking about business,
I will say this. So all of these things that I teach the clients to do, I factor that into my charging.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I was like...
So you owe her $200.
Yeah.
Like,
so
at the rate that you're
we say that... So the experience at Fringe Salon versus a salon that does not do curly hair, we tell them off the bat, you have to budget at least 2-3 hours. Because depending on the
Danny's
length and
mind is gonna
density,
be blown right
depending on the length and density of the hair, you can be there a long time. There's a lot of education involved. I mean, if the person has a lot of questions, we have to go over, products. We have to basically teach them how to do their hair and how to sleep. And
It's education. It's not just a haircut.
Yeah, no, I get you. You're paying for your knowledge. And, knowledge costs money.
Yeah.
Which, when I first met you, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. That
was a great conversation.
Yeah, that was a wonderful conversation.
Never forget.
But I was like, it didn't make any sense.
He was like, why do you do what you do? Why do people pay for this?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
tell
like,
me why.
Yeah, I don't want to sound ignorant when I talk about hair. I understand that women feel empowered when they go to a salon. After they turn to a certain age, you just want to feel more and more empowered and beautiful. How is that not superficial? Like, how is you looking beautiful, not necessarily you wanting attention from men? Do you understand that question?
Say it again.
I'm sorry, I gotta hop in here, Danny.
Wait, no,
I can't.
It didn't make sense that you're going to teach somebody how to take care of their natural hair because it's like their hair. They should know, but apparently
it seems counterintuitive, but we've
But
been taught so much poor things about our hair. Like, as a curly hair person, I was never taught what to do with it. My mom had curly hair. She didn't know what to do with it either. I would brush my hair dry, which is the worst thing you could do as a curly haired person. I did not know any of this until probably like my mid-30s or Anyway, let's get into the money part, because I feel like a lot of artists watching this are like, wow, she's creative. She gets paid to be creative every day. That's amazing. And you talked a little bit about like your vision and how that kind of helped you to overcome. But like, if we could get to the nuts and bolts, like, what are some financial tips that you could give for artists of things that you had to do that helped you to sustain your living?
I mean, again, finding something sustainable. Obviously, if I am not solely responsible with my activity behind the chair, me working with clients to pay for rent and the whole nine, if you invest in creating other opportunities, if you have the space to do it in your space, to bring on more people to make revenue for the place, then obviously that's going to help, right? So really, I've had since the curly explosion, since we're really like the people to go to in Philadelphia. I mean, recently I had a client in my chair. I've been working with her for quite some time, and her friend walks in, who's also curly. She'd been going to the salon for a long time too. I don't do the other person's hair, but oh, hey girl, how you doing? Oh, you're here too. They're having their own conversation. Oh yeah, well I go to Shelly and she's great, and I've been going to Erin forever, and blah 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 blah. And they're talking amongst themselves, and then my client says, well, you know what? Like, we should. They were also talking about the other people that they know that come to our salon for curly. And she was like, yeah, we should actually like set up like a Facebook page, because like if Erin has a cancellation, or if like I can't make my appointment, I can tell like the other people in our circle to like take that appointment. And I was like, and then she like turned and looked at me. She's like, yeah, because you guys are like the place to be. Like, and Erin, you're really, really hard to get in with. So like and just for me at that moment, I was like, oh, that's my goodness.
Amazing.
Like, this is like...
That they're like
that's
building
very big.
structures to accommodate and be able to work, like to be worked on by
you. So really
That's
what that
amazing.
said to me is like, let me really put the pedal to the metal and grow this. This is the opportunity to do this now.
So,
You know what I mean?
So seeking the interest and pursuing that.
Yes.
going to business question, but back when you were 20-something and you bought it, what made you jump in? Like, if you could talk to a young person today that's in the verge of starting their own business or pursuing their art and selling it, like, and they're very hesitant? How would you push them?
I mean, what made me jump in is that I wanted to do something that wouldn't be taken over by a computer ever. Yeah.
But how about a young person today, which the world is AI? Like, how would you encourage them to pursue their passion as their own business?
So, solving problems too is really important. I mean, I think you want to have it to be a win-win, right? You want to win in that, like, you want to do something that you're inspired to do, that you like the thing that you're doing. You could see yourself doing it day in and day out. Like for me, because I'm hands-on and I don't want to sit down at a computer, I could bake cakes. I could do flower arranging. I could do something with I could make frames. I could, I really don't, like, just don't put me behind a computer. I'm kinetic. I have to, sit down. I mean, I don't want to sit down. Yeah, I have to do something with my hands.
So, like, let's go back to either those early days and throughout the years, like you, like sitting down, like doing the books, or like something that you're like, I do not want to do this. This is not natural to me. It's not fun. How did you get through those moments, or any tips that you have for artists who need to face, handling money?
I mean, a white knuckling in the beginning, completely white knuckling it. I'm at a moment in my career now where because I'm growing the team and I want to be a better boss and I really want to like nurture and hone the team. I'm personally reaching out to other professionals to help me, to help the business, to make sure like I'm completely above board. I'm taking care of my girls. I put my girls on disability insurance this year. That was a big deal for me. Wow. My receptionist is on health insurance. The salon can afford to do that. So I have my eye more on that. I'm teaching every week my assistants to be able to be confident behind the chair. So I'm kind of stepping back more to actually build the team that way.
But how did you get to the point where you have these resources because you've built it and you've kind of powered through those? So you white knuckled it. Was there anything practical that you did that were like maybe setting time aside to do it, or like doing it at a time you had more energy? Was there anything that you're like, this is how I did it, or you're just like, I struggled the whole time?
I am trying to find like better people to work with and more support to educate me, because I was doing my books up until recently. I switched from Quick into QuickBooks recently. And when I made that switch, because I was doing my books in a certain way, and I gave that to my accountant, apparently I messed it up really bad. Last year was the first time we had to file for an extension.
Oh, wow.
And, I even like invested in this like online tutorial to like do QuickBooks for salons, and apparently I messed it all up. So that was a huge feedback for me too. I was like, okay, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I have to get somebody to do my books. I have my accountant, but I need somebody to do my books. I need a financial advisor. And so I'm in a mode right now of getting all those resources. Yeah.
Well, thank you for expressing that.
Yeah.
I know that's not like fun to admit something that you made a mistake, but but like it's okay.
Yeah.
Like your business is going to be okay. And now it's helped you to kind of shift gears so that way you get the resources and the support you need so that your business can continue to scaling and thriving.
Yeah. So I would say, bite the bullet, invest in the things that you don't want to do and you can outsource. The sticker shock might be a lot, but like just do it.
Yeah.
Because those people are, they're in the service industry too. I am a client of yours. I'm in the service industry. I know how I serve my clients.
Yeah.
So I want to be served that way.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Any advice that you have, it doesn't have to be about money or anything. We talked a little bit about it before. Like what is your advice to emerging artists who want to grow and want to make money on their art? Like what can you share with them based on your life experience?
My advice is to keep your ideas fluid enough that your clientele is going to tell you how to evolve. The curly hair thing, I looked around and I was like, oh, this is a problem in our industry, and that's not being served. Like these poor people are not being served. Our industry has actually hurt curly people. They have PTSD from getting horrible haircuts. Well, why? Why did you get such a horrible? This is like a common story, because they walk in, they get a haircut for straight hair.
Yep, been there, definitely. Definitely had straight cuts.
So when you actually listen to them and you honor like the hair coming out of there, I'm not trying to make you look like anyone. And that's the other thing for me. I knew that like getting that pixie cut and having this like customized haircut for me. It's such a short haircut. I don't want to look like a boy. Don't give me a boy haircut.
Yeah.
And those little details, if you transgress those details, you'll look like a boy.
Wow.
And I'm never coming back to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So similarly, you don't want to transgress and treat your clients in a way that they don't want to be treated.
Yeah.
So I've had curly people in my chair say, no one has ever asked me these questions before.
Aww. I love the metaphor of it, that you are like an artist with such a very strong point of view and identity, and you are helping people get in touch with their natural identity, like the design of their hair, like what they were born with, and bringing that back to life in some cases, or amplifying what they've already been working on.
Well, taking a texture that they've hated and not know how to handle, and then making it artistic.
Yeah.
And making it like a wearable, like,
That's amazing.
accessory.
Yeah, like rewriting their whole experience and relationship with their hair.
Yep.
It's a beautiful thing.
It really is. It's extremely rewarding.
Yeah.
I like that
love
it's not
that.
superficial. It's like, I'm going to get your natural beauty and show you how beautiful you are.
That's what I
And
like
they're-
too.
They're very happy.
Yeah.
That's what I like too.
Yeah.
Any other advice? You mentioned something earlier about vision. What do you think? What's the significance of that?
The significance of having vision is that when you simplify the reason, like the why, the mission statement. I will say vision and mission statement is the same thing, right? When you keep your mission statement or your vision at the forefront, you're gonna have horrible days. You might make huge mistakes in the process of your business, but if you keep that vision strong, that's going to help you weather those mistakes. And when you do, it's not if you make mistakes. When you do make mistakes, just know that that's like the best learning lesson you can ever have. Tomorrow you'll be better. You won't make that mistake again.
Kara always talks about, I'm sorry. That was an excellent
I love that.
answer.
Like, let's take a moment to just kind of.
Yeah, Kara tells me I have to digest because
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, and Kara always talks about left brain, right brain, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, you are super right brain.
So right.
But what you've done building a business requires a lot of left brain kind of muscle. And so what has that been like for you?
I mean, I'm still exercising that left brain. I'm going through a huge left brain thing now. And I think I think that artists can make an excuse a lot of times. Be like, well, I'm an artist, oh, I'm late. Oh, it's late again. Well, I'm an artist, or like this. Like, no, come on, get with it.
You can be punctual.
You can be
and
punctual.
Be an artist.
Come on, no, be professional. You're in a business. Like, take yourself serious. Take your clients seriously. Take yourself seriously. Like take this serious. Take this seriously. Show up. A lot of artists are like, oh, it's my excuse to just be like, a flake. No, don't be a flake.
Right.
And when like money is on the line, you have bills to pay, then it's up to you.
Love that. Amazing. Danny, do you have any more questions?
No.
I just have one last question. Did you notice a correlation in your relationship with money as it has evolved over the years? Is there a direct correlation with how successful your business has been, or are they two separate things?
In my business, focusing on the client and focusing on your staff is the answer to the questions. If you focus on the numbers, you will make mistakes.
Take care of the people that take care of you.
I had a lesson early on where my color line at the time, some formula changed. I don't know. It was crazy. And the client had to come back. I was doing the same. And I charged again for the fix because in my idea, it wasn't my fault. And how am I going to recoup that money? She never came back. That happened very early on. And I said, great lesson. I didn't focus on the client.
Right. So now you won't charge if you have to fix it.
She didn't know. The formula didn't work.
Right.
But here I am playing a victim. Well, the color changed. And
Right.
the company had to come in and they had to explain what was going on with their chemistry. But then that was like a huge lesson for me. I was like a wake up call. So now I just lost a client.
Right. So being focused on the client. Yeah, it's not about being obsessed with money or like money being the main goal, but it's like having a comfort around it. Like, okay, this is a natural part of the business. I accept this, but having the priority being a client focus, like that's always a good long-term plan.
Yeah. So let's say, solving problems so the problem, like in my situation, was this curly community not being served. Okay, well, let me serve them. And wow, hey, we have tons of business. I mean, we're busting at the seams. So, okay, let me hone that. Let me grow that. Let me take education. Let me invest in this, so like kind of like jumping on that wagon, which encompasses like that's a road within the vision, within the mission statement. Awesome. So it's like, cool, let me do that instead of being like, oh, I don't really know. I want to do this hair, trying to make people fit into that just because I like to do it. That doesn't make any sense. Right.
Any last thing you want to say to our listeners, our audience, what you want to leave them with?
Yeah, try to surround yourself with supportive people. I mean, I think that's just like a major life lesson, but, try to find your people that can, be your cheerleaders and support you in what you're doing, especially when it doesn't exist yet. Mm-hmm. That's what you're doing, Kara, with your coaching.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
thank you.
yes.
So sweet.
Yes.
Yeah. Loving what you do, it goes a long way in helping you overcome the discomfort of money and other challenges. So thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for your time.
As always. Yay. Love my friend. All right.
All right, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Sign off.
I don't know sign language. Anyway.
We have a pay it forward feature. Is there any artist that a paid artist that you would like to recommend to possibly be a guest on our show?
Amber Bueller.
Amber Bueller. Why Amber Bueller?
Amber Bueller is one of my besties. She is an amazing, amazing, amazing artist who has made lemonade out of lemons in her life. She has been through a lot of difficult situations, difficult things, where she's found that she is now creating a business. She has an opportunity to create a business in her artistic pursuits, and she's doing it. And she legitimized her business recently. She's paying taxes and all the things. So she's new at this, and it's so exciting to see her take off, and she is killing it.
She's so talented. I can't wait. Yeah, that's a great recommendation. And how can we find Amber? Oh, you don't know her Instagram. We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you for tuning in, and come back next week when we interview Carl Sagan and talk about black holes.
Okay.